Last Thursday, the President of Uganda, Museveni, confirmed the computer misuse bill into law. And this didn't leave most of the Ugandans settled, since they are the computer users. They are the ones who normally use these computers. How does this law leave Ugandans? This is what we're going to be discussing today with one of the councils, a member of the judiciary, who is going to be telling us more and more about this law. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the show. I'm Marvin Miles. Let me give him a chance to introduce himself. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce yourself to the public and the viewers.
My name is Emmanuel Chiria. I am an advocate of the High Court of Uganda and all courts of this country. For the correction, I am not a member of the judiciary. The judiciary is for judges, and I'm not a judge. I am a lawyer in this country, and I'm happy to be here. Yes. So, our main topic today is the computer misuse bill that was turned into a law after being signed by the president. So, Council, what do you say about that law? The Computer Misuse Act,
yes, as
we now call it, since it was already ascended to by the president, is an act which was brought by a private member, Honorable Nsereko, MP of Kampala Central, and the purpose of the bill is to regulate the use of the computer and the internet. In the bill, Nsereko argues that it is, the communication on internet is infringing on people's privacy. So this bill is to control people's privacy. That is the argument of the honorable member of the bill. Though the bill, in my view, has a few things here and there which need to be talked about, and I've seen people going to court to challenge it. I think the bill, to some extent, is not constitutional. There are several provisions of the bill, which is now an act, which need to be challenged in the court for them to be struck out, because the bill has so many loopholes, in my view.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Council, you talked about not being constitutional. Let's mainly base on that for now. What makes it not to be constitutional, or what makes a bill to be constitutional?
Now, in this country, we have a constitution,
yes,
which is the supreme law of Uganda. The constitution says under Article 2 that it is the supreme law of this country, and that any law which is inconsistent with it is null and void. Now, this bill was brought to curtail or to regulate freedom of speech. Yet the Constitution under Article 29 gives us freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of the press. And yet this bill is taking away entirely, one, freedom of the press. Because if you read the bill properly, you know that now the press cannot work.
Yes.
There's a provision under the bill, the act, saying that you cannot share unauthorized information. So if you found a rapist raping someone, you have to first seek their consent,
yes,
before you publish such information. So this is in a way infringing upon the people's right of speech, expression, freedom of the press, and all that. So to that extent, it is null and void, and it will be challenged in court.
So, when you look at the general public, someone who doesn't know how things work, this has been the first bill to be passed quickly or at a tender time, a very short period of time. Can we say that it is now sided? Can we take it to some side of the government, or can we say that it is the government-aided bill or something like that?
Yes, because this bill, you see, in any country, any democracy, the people are allowed to speak. In this country, I think the purpose of the bill is to curtail, especially the opposition, because the bill is very vague. There's a provision on hate speech. They say you can't say anything which is malicious or which is believed to be made in bad faith or said in bad faith. They talk about hate speech, but they don't define what hate speech is. Exactly. So they leave room for whoever is going to arrest you to define what hate speech is. So it's upon the police to say, now, whatever you said, according to me, it is hate speech. Then they will take you in. So the government has an interest in this bill, this act, because they will use it anywhere to turn anyone's words into an offense.
So, according to you, to what level should hate speech be? At what rate should someone terminate hate speech?
In my view, I think there shouldn't be anything like hate speech. Whatever it is, whatever the speech is, we should be allowed to speak. Actually, in 2002, the Supreme Court of this country sat and held in the case of Andrew Mwenda. Andrew Mwenda had been charged with offensive communication,
Yes.
publication of false news. They say that whatever he published was false. So the Supreme Court in that case said that people should be allowed to speak, whether what they are saying is false, whether what they are saying is malicious, whatever they are saying should be allowed to be said. So there is nothing like hate speech. Everything, so long as you're allowed to speak, you should be able to speak whatever you want to say. People should be tolerated the way they are, whether they are saying whatever they're saying is false, malicious, or hate. People should be allowed to speak freely.
So, considering what you've said, we have seen the likes of Stella Nyanzi being arrested earlier, and other people due to what they call inciting violence and the hate speech, which I'm seeing now. Is there any law which has been used against those people? And why did that law be used till now? Why did they decide to change?
Yes, the Stella Nyanzis were also tried under the Computer Missuse Act, the same act. See, this act was passed in 2011. What has happened is an amendment.
They're amending.
They're amending the same act to introduce new sections of the same act.
So, should we say that the first act failed to work out?
In fact, the first act was also bad, but it worked. They've used it to arrest so many people. I've seen offenses of annoying the president, offenses of offensive communication. It worked, but now there was a loophole. Social media is the target right now. Twitter, Facebook, and all that. Since the last string of elections, there was a lot of people using social media to abuse, to insult, to annoy others, and there was a loophole. The law didn't provide properly for that, so they're coming for social media now. That is the target of this bill.
So you're trying to say that this is a wave. It is aiming at a certain group of people.
Yes, this is a wave. It is a clear wave, and the target. See, the law is targeted to, especially the youth, who use social media to insult, to annoy, and to do all sorts of things there. You've seen recently there have been so many arrests of people on social media who use social media to, for example, I've seen someone who has been taken for annoying the Speaker of Parliament, among others. So the target is there, especially these people who are so much on social media. They are not easily controlled. So this law is to control such a group.
You've talked about the speaker, someone annoying the speaker. I think the speaker has been in an engagement with some of the honorable members of parliament. Should we say that she was among the people who brought up this in order to punish those people who have come up?
No, I cannot say that. What I know is the bill was brought by Siriko Mohammed. It was taken through parliament, through all the procedures, and it was passed. But of course, the majority in parliament are NR members, and the bill helps them. So they had to pass it. And that's why they passed it. So the speaker can't be singled out. I don't know that she was personally involved in the passing of the act. But as speaker, she chaired the meetings, and we now have the act.
You said that this is just being amended.
Yeah, this is an amendment.
It is an amendment.
Yes.
So why do you think that this one will work? And if it won't work, why won't it work?
This one won't work. One, I've seen people who have gone to court to challenge it. You see, the amendment is very bad, that it has glaring problems. For example, there's a provision on children. You can't share any information about a child. Now, of course, this provision may have been brought in good faith to protect the children and their privacy and all that. But it can't work. Why? You see, the law is broad and vague. If they say you can't share any information about a child, recently there was a matter in Luero. There was a lady called Nawalime Dorothy who was beating up her child. And the only way we knew, when the police found out that this child was being beaten and tortured every day, was through sharing of information. But right now, if for you to share such information, you have to first ask Nabulime for permission. Should I share this so that people know that you've been beating your child like this? Now, that is not constitutional. The law should allow people to share such information so that authorities find out and the child gets justice. If you found a missing child, for example, you woke up in the morning and there's a child abandoned at your doorstep, you can't share that I have a missing child.
You can't.
Because the law provides.
You have to first ask for permission from this child.
From the parent who you don't know.
Exactly.
So the law is bad in that context and it will not work.
Don't you think that the policymakers are trying to limit harm or to do what they call harm limitation for these young kids who are coming up?
That's what they wanted, but they didn't discuss the law properly. They said it was passed very fast. They should have sought the engagement of other stakeholders before passing the law, especially on children. We have the Children's Act, Cap 59. In this act, it talks about the welfare principle. So long as whatever you're doing is in the best interest of the child, it is allowed. Now, this act is sort of contradicting that. If you're posting information about a child to help the child, even when you have no consent of the parent, this should be allowed because it is helping that child. The child is missing, you phone them, you can post to inform the public that they have this child. Anyone who is the owner can come for him. You phone the child being raped, you can post about that, they get help. But this law is telling you, say nothing about children. Whether you find them doing what, keep quiet. So that can't work.
We have seen many of these coming up, many of these so-called laws, and some of our leaders themselves coming up and defending them. We saw General Kalekai who are defending the 48-hour bill, something like that, 48 hours of arrest, 48-hour arrest. And he came up and defended it openly. And then, after his arrest, he fell a victim of that himself. And Mama Mbabazi also one day defended the public something bill. Is it the Public
Order Management Act?
Order Management Act. He came up and defended it. But when defending that, when he also contested the president, he fell victim. Should we say that one day Muhammad Siroko is likely to be a victim of this?
He's already a victim, and he's continuing to be a victim. There is a provision in this act which says you cannot share unauthorized information. Any information, so long as I'm not solicited for it, you can't share. Now, for example, if you go to your WhatsApp status and post something on your status, and I see it, you've shared something, I have seen it, yet I have not solicited for it.
Yes.
You're committing an offense. I'm sure Ansireko now is already sharing information which is not solicited. For example, on WhatsApp or where or what. He will eventually be a victim. He cannot survive because this law is going to touch everyone. Now everyone is an offender. If this law is to be properly enforced the way it is. Hate speech. Anything you say in this law can be defined as hate speech. If I say Marvin is very fat, can be said to be hate speech under this act. Sereko says that anything you say. So there's no way he's going to fail to be a victim. I'm sure now, just because you don't know, but he's already committing offenses under the Computer Missuse Act. Yes.
So when you hear some of the leaders talking, when Muhammad Siroko himself says that you have to be able to defend what you say, that if you think it is a right, then you come out and defend your right to speech. So what do you think were his main motives of bringing up this law?
When I read the bill, in the preamble, he says the main purpose of bringing this bill was to enhance and enforce the right to privacy. That people are infringing on people's rights to privacy, and there is need to put a stop to that. That's what it says in the bill. But when you look at it critically, this is to curtail people from speaking. You see, there is a difference between hate speech and free speech. He claims to be fighting hate speech, but instead he's fighting free speech, because there is nothing like hate speech. Everything is free speech. People must talk. It is up to us to tolerate them. The law gives us the duty to tolerate everybody the way they are. Some people are born different, others have different cultures, everyone is different.
Yes.
So the law tells you tolerate that person when the Constitution is giving us the right to free speech, doesn't tell us that you have a right to speak the truth.
Yes,
No,
yeah.
you have a right to
It's
speak.
general.
Whatever you say, so long as it is your opinion, is allowed. That is the law. So his motive is wrong. There is nothing like we're infringing on privacy by speaking. It's not there. The press, you see, the press has, under the Constitution, under Article 40, they have a right to practice their profession. Now, if a police officer is beating up a civilian on the street, and you record that and you post, you're not infringing on the officer's privacy. Because in the bill, they are saying that is unauthorized information. You have to first ask the officer for permission for you to record him.
Yes.
That is wrong. And it is a direct attack on the freedom of the press. I think journalists should fight this as soon as possible.
So, talking about the press, do you think that the article set in the Constitution will be able to defend the press in case they come up?
Yes, very much so. Let's take it. Yes, the Constitution is going to protect the press, because it is the Constitution is the supreme law. This is an act of Parliament which can be challenged, and if it is inconsistent with the Constitution, it has to be declared null and void. The right to practice your profession is paramount and cannot be taken away from you by this act. So the journalists should come up and take this matter to court, join others, and the court will determine.
Yeah. You talked about the law being against the freedom of speech and the rest. So should your freedom of speech inflict on my freedoms too?
No. You see, under the Constitution, there is a limitation of our freedoms. What you do shouldn't infringe on another person's rights.
Yes.
But this matter has already been adjudicated upon. The Supreme Court has decided that when you speak something false, it is not among the limitations. Whether it is false or annoying or malicious, it does not infringe upon another person's right to privacy, like they are saying in this bill. No, it doesn't. Your opinion, so long as you don't harm anyone by punching them or fighting them, speaking has no problem at all. People should be allowed to speak. In any democracy, people must speak. The biggest tool is used in politics is speech. So when it is curtailed, it is attacked, they are trying to control the masses for them to be easily governed. That's the entire purpose of this act and this bill.
So, as we speak, is this law already working? Is it in the Constitution? A law which is unconstitutional is not a law at all. Yes. So is it already in the Constitution?
I think it has been gazetted. I'm not sure. I will find out. But I think it's already working.
It's already working?
Yes.
So one can fall a victim anytime?
Yeah, one can fall a victim anytime. But people have gone to court already to challenge it, both in the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court of Justice.
Sure. So is this law already in the Constitution?
I think you mean is the law already in force?
Yeah.
A law to be in force, you see, it is first of all passed by Parliament, then assented to by the President, and after that it should be gazetted. I've not seen the instrument of gazettement, but I've seen people going to court, and you can't go to court before it is gazetted. So I think maybe it has been gazetted by mere fact that it has been challenged in court, and since it is already, if it is gazetted, then it is already in force, and anyone can fall victim of this law. So, yes.
Counsel, let's talk about the loopholes in this law. What are the main loopholes here that we are talking about?
First of all, it is vague. It is not specific on what it is saying. There is no definition of what hate speech is. You don't know what is the context of hate speech. What do you say and is hate speech? What do you say and is not?
Yes.
That is a big problem, because it means that anything can be said to be hate speech. It is broad. It talks about sharing any information, doesn't have exceptions.
Yes.
Any information, whether good or bad, you can't share it under this law. So the broadness and the vagueness is the biggest loophole. But most importantly is its unconstitutionality. It being in contravention of Article 29 and Article 40 and Article 2 of the Constitution. Those are the biggest loopholes in this law. And I am sure that the judges will have to strike out this act, this Amendment Act, for being null and void.
As we conclude, should we say that this law has exceptions? Should we say that some people are outside of this law or cannot be affected by this law? Because we have been seeing members of the government themselves and some heads of the state misusing again, going against this, just of recent of these days, bad days. So can we say that some people are outside of this, can't be affected?
Anyone should be really affected by the law. Everyone should be affected by the law. The only person who is immune is the president. All other persons should be affected by this law. But you see, in this country, sometimes the selective application of the law. The enforcers of the law fear some people. Police cannot arrest some people, and some are easily arrested. And even the purpose of the law, if you think about it critically, you'll understand that this law is brought for a specific group of people. They are looking at the youth. Those are the people who will be arrested for offending and infringing upon it. So it's not true that some people are not affected, want to be affected. It's just that some people will not be touched.
Some people will be left out.
Will be left out, just as it has been always.
The president came out and banned Facebook from Uganda. And Facebook is not among the socials right now. If you're using Facebook, it is illegal. You're using it illegally. So what if I come out and use the so-called hate speech on my Facebook, which is no longer under the management of Uganda, which was blocked from Uganda using my VPN or my Wi-Fi, and I access it and use the so-called hate speech, will I still be able to be judged using the same law?
Yes, it's not true that Facebook is illegal in Uganda. It's just that Facebook is not, the government is not allowing us to use it freely.
Yes, it is blocked.
It is just blocked. But you see, for example, if you're going to Entebbe Road, to Entebbe Airport, and there are two roads, there's the expressway and the main road. And at the expressway, they are paying some money. And for you want to say, let me just go through jam, but I will reach. It's like VPN. So you seldom use VPN to access. You can use Facebook. So if you commit crimes on Facebook, still, you'll be affected by the law. They won't say it is not used. If you see even the Uganda police has a Facebook account, and every day I see their posts there, they use VPN. So Facebook is working through VPN, and if you commit anything, you can be charged there. Yes.
But generally, what the president was talking about was blocking Facebook from being used. So meaning even that implementation failed here in Uganda.
It totally failed, because Facebook is actually the most used social media app in this country, even when it is blocked. People access it every day through VPN and other methods, I don't know. So the blocking failed, and the Facebook is working properly. Even myself, I have an account there. I keep checking my updates from the Uganda police on Facebook and other people. It's only the president who doesn't use it.
How does it work? When I post something on Facebook that is annoying someone or against someone, am I supposed to be arrested, or someone has to report me first to be arrested?
In any case, there should be a complainant. There should be someone who is annoyed or who thinks your statement is malicious. But that person can be a police officer. He can say, me, police officer, I think what you said about the Basoga is malicious. So he can be a complainant and he can take you on. It doesn't have to be a private person. Anyone can complain.
So as we conclude, lastly, let's handle the two main punishments of this law. Let me call them punishments. The two main punishments. Why they say if you're a politician and you find and then you fall victim of this law, you'll be banned from contesting or being in public office for 10 years, for the next 10 years. Don't you think this is so harsh?
Of course it is harsh, but the purpose is to deter, to scare people away from social media, especially the public officers. You see now, if you commit an offense, you can't become a member of parliament.
Yes.
So they are going to target people. If you're a member of parliament and you say something like that, which they think is offending the act, you'll be charged with the offense and convicted. Once convicted, you can't stand in the next elections.
Yes.
That's the entire purpose. It is to take away leaders from us, to using a bad law, is to scare people from using social media. Social media is the biggest. You see, before social media came, ruling this country was very easy.
Yes, yes.
With social media, it is very hard. It is very hard to control people. Information flows very fast and at a very fast rate. So that's what they want to control. Now, how do you control that? Scare people from using social media to disorganize the government and everything like that. That's the purpose. So the punishment put there is very harsh. I've seen for hate speech, they are put 10 years in imprisonment. For giving information about a child, 7 years. Even when you're helping the child.
Yes, 7 years.
7 years, all that. So the punishments are harsh. And I know this act, I don't think it will stand. I don't think it will stand.
So, as you conclude, let's give a sensitizing section to the youth and other people there who use the computers. Let's say something about that.
Yeah, of course, even when you have freedom of speech, you don't have to go out there abusing people. Use social media for your own, for benefit of the country, for your own benefit, and for benefit of others. It's not good to abuse, and we don't want to be in court all the time defending people for abusing and spreading rumors and all that. Even when you have a right to do it, you don't have to do it, but you have a right to do it. You're allowed to say whatever you want to say. But there's no point as a youth. The most important thing is to build your life, to build the country, be patriotic, and not to be involved in cheap talk, social media, sharing I see people sharing nudes, sharing false information about the government and all that. It doesn't add up. However, there's nothing wrong under the law. It is only immoral, it is bad, but not unlawful. It is immoral, but not unlawful. Yeah.
Yes, today we're with Counsel Emma, and we were talking about the Computer Misuse Act. He has talked about cheap talks. Maybe he can also be a victim of that. Some of us who normally talk and engage in anything, we can report you, and I don't know if you have lawyers who can come in and defend you. So behind my camera has been Emma. As usual, he's always my producer. And for now, I'm out. We shall be back. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Thank you so much. I'm Marvin Miles. Peace.